So this is me. How you doing, guys? I've got a bit of a situation here. This is my bathtub, right? And bathtubs are generally installed for the life of the home. So, I don't know, they're good for like 200 years maybe. Well, in my case, my house is about 27 years old. And, well, actually more like 28. Built in 1985, about 28 years old. And this is an all-in-one fiberglass one-piece tub. These are great tubs. You install them before anything else in the house is built. When this tub was brought in here, the exterior walls may have been up. That's about it. Basically, they're the first thing to come in. So, if you ever have to replace one, it's not fun. You actually have to hack the tub up into bits. And I might actually be in a position to where I may actually have to replace mine because of installation error. See, what happened was my floor, my tub floor, when I first moved in, I noticed it was a little soft. And I'm not a very heavy guy. I think I weigh about, I remember at the time when I moved in, I think I weighed about 180 pounds. And the flooring was just a little soft in some areas, and I was a little concerned about that. And, well, what happened was, over the course of 6 years, it got worse and worse, and eventually I developed a crack in the floor, right here. You can barely see it. There's a little crack right there. It's not a bad one, but it is a crack, and a crack in a fiberglass tub can mean one of 2 or 3 things. If it's a wood frame construction and the tub is sitting on a on a subfloor, usually it means there's a problem with the subfloor, or the tub was installed improperly and they didn't pour a mortar base on the subfloor before setting the tub in place. Uniquely, my house is built on a slab, a nice thick concrete slab. There's nothing wrong with my concrete slab. It's pretty solid. That I know. I mean, what can go wrong on a concrete freaking slab? Not much. So, what does it mean for me? Well, it means the tub was installed improperly. So, I decided to put on my investigator's hat and find out what the hell went wrong. Now, this is fixable. The crack is in far enough, and it isn't long enough to really cause a problem. So what's going to happen is I'm going to hire a company to come in here, and they're going to cut a hole right about here, and they're going to restructure the bottom of the tub. I don't know how they're going to do it. I don't know what they use. I believe they put in some kind of a non-compressible expansion foam. I hope that's what it is. And then they're going to drill in other holes, and probably right about here where it's kind of soft, maybe right over there, and they're going to put in some kind of a non-compressible foam. So that's what we're going to do. And then they're going to sand down the fiberglass. This is what's called a gel coat. And it's pretty cool how these fiberglass tubs are manufactured. The mold is actually it's the shape of the tub, but it's on the inside of the tub. What they do is they spray the mold with gel coat. It's actually the actual finish of the tub. And it's nice, smooth mold. Spray the whole thing. The tub is basically, it starts off with the paint first. Once the gel coat cures, they spray fiberglass all over the mold, on the exterior of the mold. When that cures, the tub is pulled away from the mold and you have a finished product. Ingenious. And very strong. When installed properly, a fiberglass tub should last the life of the home. There's no other reason for it to go bad. It doesn't degrade. It may need to be refinished a couple of times in its life, but whatever. I had one issue right here where there was an air pocket in the tub before it had, when it was manufactured. And I was cleaning the tub. I had just moved in, and I punched a hole right into the side of the tub just by rubbing it with a sponge. It turns out there was an air pocket in the fiberglass that was sprayed on the mold. And I had to fill that hole in with automotive fiberglass, and then I painted the area with, after sanding it, I painted the area with, what did I use? I used Krylon Fusion Off-White, and that was 6 years ago. There's a little crack that formed just after the job was done, but it never got any worse, and that's not really structural either. I'll fix it again. I'm gonna have a company come in here, and they're gonna fix the floor of the tub, and I'm gonna have them try to fix that a little nicer. Anyway, so what they're gonna do is they're gonna cut holes in, they're gonna pour something in there to restructure the bottom of the tub, and then they're gonna put in a vinyl or fiberglass or some kind of a new floor on top of that. At the same time, I'm gonna replace the entire drain plumbing. It's starting to show its age. I'd like to throw in a new valve assembly, but I'm not really sure I want to do that. That's not really necessary, but a new drain would help. So let's take a look at why this tub is having so many problems. I put my investigator cap on, right? And I went out to the kitchen. Ooh, look at all that pink stuff. Alright. What the hell is wrong here? Okay, pretty easy. Pretty simple. Didn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out, but the tub, if you look at the foot of the tub, it is elevated. It is not actually sitting on concrete. What the hell, man? When the tub was installed, they literally didn't pour or lay down a, they didn't put down any kind of underlayment or mortar. You're supposed to use mortar. They just set it down, screwed it in place, and put the drywall up. Those bastards! I don't know what I'm going to do about that. Well, I have an idea. I mean, really isn't that difficult. I mean, once they have the floor opened up, they can actually put something in there to kind of restructure the floor of the tub. But I'm thinking to myself, like, they got away with that shit. The company who built this house got away with it, and that isn't right, man. So let's look inside here. This hasn't been opened up since 1986. Alright, let's have a look in there. I'm going to try to angle the camera so you can see. This is behind the tub. There's the back wall over there. The towel rack is somewhere. There's a little towel rack. It's right about there. This hole right here has been collecting water. And I investigated that too. I could smell like moisture, and I'm like, where the hell? What's going on now? If you look at the back of the tub here, you can see water is leaking. This is where the faucet is. So the faucet is basically held in by magic. And there's nothing supporting this pipe. So the faucet is free to move back and forth as it pleases. In fact, this is kind of moist right here, which tells you that water has been leaking back here for quite some time. You can see the corrosion marks on the pipe. What's happening is water is dripping from the shower head onto the faucet, where it falls back behind the faucet and drips down here, drips around here, and down. It's also possible that this is actually the tub overflow, and this is where the valve control for the tub drain is. You can see that this gasket is more than likely seeping a little bit, and probably has been for decades. But because my house is built on a slab, and this pit down here is open to the ground, any water that pours in here just soaks into the ground. So I could have a tub leak and never have to worry about rot. The wood you see here, that 2x10 or 2x12, whatever the hell that is, that could rot away and it wouldn't matter. That was only put there when they poured the slab, just to keep the hole open. That's all that's for. It's not structural at all. But I'm still worried about this freaking tub. Let's take a look. You can see just how much of a gap there is. This is the foot of the tub here, and this should be on solid ground, and it's not. So, and the other side isn't much better. If anything, it's worse. And there isn't a hell of a lot I can do without ripping the floor open. Now, I could go in here with expandable foam and just foam it, and it might work pretty well. The problem is I can't get to the back of the tub. There's no access without drilling holes in the tub floor, because that's the outside wall, and I'm not cutting a hole in the outside wall of my condo, and I can't access it from the back because that goes into the next unit. This is a mirror image of what's next door, so I gotta do something about this. But then I noticed, why is there a 2x6 wall on the interior of my house? It's a non-structural wall, and it is a 2x6 freaking wall. Why? It's not necessary, man. It can be a 2x4. Anywho, so this is going to be an ongoing project, and I'm not sure what I'm going to do at this point. I have an option of having the tub fixed for $400. That's it. Alternatively, I can yank the tub out and replace it. Material-wise, I just priced it out. I'm looking at around $700, and that's with all the fixtures, the tub, the shower wall, the drain assembly, everything, and the drywall repairs that I have to make. I've got to replace all the drywall around the tub because it's all got to be ripped out. And for that, price-wise, I'm under $1,000. Unfortunately, I don't have the time, I don't have the energy to rip apart my entire bathroom to make this possible. So I'm going to go the easy way out. I'm going to have somebody come in here and just rip the tub apart and fix it. And it's going to cost me less than $1,000. And I'm okay with that. They did say they would repaint the entire tub for $700 total, the whole job done. But I don't really think I want to go that far into it just yet. I might just get the tub fixed. We'll see how the repair works out. And after that, I'll reevaluate it. And if I decide the tub is worth salvaging, I'll have them come back and paint the sucker. I want to paint it white. It just makes sense. Paint it white. That's the color of the future. White. This goes straight into the next unit. There's no drywall or anything between the units. There's actually two 2x4. You see the sill plate? There's two 2x4 sill plates between the units. That's it. Huh. Well, that explains a lot. Oh, man. Excuse me, I'm suffering this freaking cold. It's going away. It's getting better. You know, I'm breathing in all this dust. I should be wearing a dust mask. But I've got to replace this drain assembly. It is leaking. They're not that expensive. So at the very least, I'll just do that. You know, it's really not a big deal. As a matter of fact, it looks like... Are you kidding me? Yeah, I can do that. It looks like it's not even assembled right. Well, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But they're not hard to replace. I've helped my dad do one already. They're not that difficult. Because the tub drain doesn't really work. It doesn't stop like it's supposed to. Home ownership is such a joy. Alright, well, I've got my work cut out for me, and this hole. I had to cut this hole open. I could have gone over to the stud, but I'm like, nah, I don't really want it that big. I'm going to leave this, once I cut this all open, I'm going to actually cut it open to the stud, and I'm just going to have a little panel that can be screwed in place. And that's how, because this really should be accessible for repair work. I mean, there's no reason to leave this closed. I'm going to have to cut another hole up here. It's only behind the refrigerator, so no one will ever see it. And then just put some access panels there, and that'll take care of that. I'll cut this open so that it, so that it meets the the width of the bay, and then I'll have another one up here. Maybe not. Hey, that's where my outlet is. That's it. Oh, I see. They got blocking in place. Okay, cool. All right. So in the meantime, we're going to take some of this Gorilla Tape, and we're going to try to seal up the crack a little bit. I was using packing tape. It worked okay, but not that well. It didn't last. So I'm hoping this stuff is a little bit, better adhesive-wise. It's a little thicker. And we're going to go right over the crack with this. Alright. Oh wow. Stuff. And stuff is good stuff. It'll still come off though. Well, maybe it'll work a little. Maybe not. Maybe not. Alright, you know what? That's still a little moist. I'm going to have to use some rubbing alcohol maybe. And then, joys of home ownership. Buy your own home, they say. It'll be fun, they say. Oh boy. I also have to clean this tub. It's been kind of disgusting. I've been slacking in my duties as a homeowner. Yeah. Alright, let's see how that works out. I really want a little better. What I really want, I'll tell you what I want, what I really want. I want a clawfoot tub. But the problem is, you can't really shower in a clawfoot tub. It's just not effective as a showering device. I mean, yeah, you can do it, but you shouldn't. Alright, put a little more there. Probably don't need that much more. We don't want the crack getting any bigger, so once the crack is actually fixed, it'll be stop drilled. Stop drilling is when you actually drill a hole here and a hole here at each end of the crack, and what that does is it prevents the crack from growing. I could do that, but I'm not gonna. I'm going to wait until I decide what I'm going to do, if I'm going to replace the tub or try to get it fixed. I already know what it will cost either way. I just don't want to do it, and now that it's winter time, I really don't want to do my bathroom over in the winter. That could be a nightmare. So, alright guys, that's it. We're done for this project.